matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now. No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now.
All right. A little bit of music to bring the mood in. It's Funk Doctor 100. Keeping it real. Got some news from my old Russian site here, english.pravda.ru. This is a top 20 countdown of our economic collapse. So just how bad is the U.S. economy? Well, the truth is that sometimes it's hard to put into words. We have squandered. Now, this is speaking from the Russian standpoint. He's doing like a quotation marks, making fun of us kind of thing. They have squandered the great wealth left to us by our forefathers. We've almost totally dismantled the world's greatest manufacturing base, shipped millions of good jobs overseas, and have piled up the biggest mountain of debt in the history of mankind. We have taken the greatest free enterprise economy that was ever created and have turned it into a gigantic house of cards, delicately balanced on a never-ending spiral of paper money and debt for decades. All of this paper money and debt has enabled us to enjoy the greatest party in the history of the world. But now the bills are coming due and the party is nearly over. Then they make the point that you can pick just about any number and find a corresponding stat that shows just how bad America's economy is getting. Some of them are kind of dumbass, but this here, Gallup's measure of underemployment hit 20% on March 15th. That was up from 19.7 2 weeks earlier and 19.5 at the start of the year. Foreclosure filings reported on 367,056 properties in the month of March. This is an increase of almost 19% from February, and it was the highest monthly total since they began issuing its report in 2005, January 2005. I mean, it just goes on and on. Here's our unemployment stats. Problem banks recently hit a 17-year high. The U.S. Congress recently approved an increase in the debt cap of the U.S. government to over $14 trillion. The FDIC is backing 8,000 banks that have a total of $13 trillion in assets with a deposit insurance fund that is basically flat broke. The FDIC's deposit insurance fund now has negative $20.7 billion in it, which actually represents a slight improvement. Horrible. In apparently our debt soared from 12 trill to the 13 trill mark in a frighteningly short period of time. And it just goes on. It is being reported that a massive network of big banks and financial institutions have been involved in blatant bid rigging fraud that cost taxpayers across the U.S. billions of dollars. The U.S. Justice Department is charging that financial advisors to municipalities colluded with Bank of America, Citigroup, J.P. Morgan, Lehman Brothers, Wachovia, and 11 others in a conspiracy to rig bids on municipal financial instruments. Horrible. The Mortgage Bankers Association recently announced that more than 10% of all homeowners with a mortgage had missed at least one payment between January and March. That's a record high, and it's up from 9.1% just a year ago. Our official unemployment number is 9.9, although the truth is that many economists consider the true unemployment rate to be much, much higher than that. That's true. There's no way that it's that small a number. The biggest banks in the U.S. cut their collective small business lending balance by another $1 billion in November. That drop was the 7th monthly decline in a row. The 6 biggest banks in the United States now possess assets equivalent to 60% of America's gross national product. Six banks own 60% of America's gross national product. Let that sink in. Okay. Reread it. Okay. Now, the bottom 40% of all income earners in the United States now collectively own less than 1% of the nation's wealth. But of course, many on Wall Street and in the government would argue that there is nothing wrong with an economy where nearly half the people are dividing up 1% of the benefits. So, 6 assholes own 60% of our gross national product, and 40% of us own less than 1%. The bottom 40% of us own less than 1% of our nation's wealth, while 60% can own, or 6 banks can own 6%. That's fucking retarded. Well, 5 is the number of U.S. banks that federal regulators closed on Friday. That brings that total number of banks that have been shut down this year in the U.S. to a total of 78. Get your money now. Get your now. Get your money out. If you have it. I don't have any fucking money, so fuck them. According to a study published by Texas A&M University Press, the 4 biggest industries in the Gulf of Mexico region are oil, tourism, fishing, shipping. Together, those 4 account for approximately $234 billion in economic activity each year. Now those 4 have been completely decimated by the Gulf of Mexico oil spill and will probably never fully recover. I don't think they'll ever recover. They think fully recover for years, if not decades, but the hammer's coming down a lot sooner than all that, you know. They're not going to have time to repair everything before we're in a world government and a police state anyways. There's not going to be too much tourism except for the richest fucks in the world, and they're not going to go to the Gulf of Mexico anyways. Decent 3-bedroom homes in the city of Detroit can be bought for $10,000. No one wants them. A massive second wave of adjustable rate mortgages scheduled to reset over the next 2 to 3 years. If this second wave is anything like the first, the U.S. housing market is about to be absolutely crushed. Now that's true. A second wave of adjustable rate mortgages resetting will completely break this country. Terrifulous. It's just terrifulous. You have to make up your own fucking word for it. How can I mean, they're not stating anything that you can't find anywhere else. They're just stating things that our media doesn't like to really point out to us. No one wants to be reminded that we're in a shit pile and we're falling further and further in. Man. I'd say, you know, I've said it on videos before, but it's the truth. I'd say get out. Get the hell out of the country, but that doesn't matter anymore. With the North American Union being basically in place but silent, the European Union, I mean, they're moving us towards the Amero. That's going to happen. They're going to move us towards some sort of chipping, RFIDing, some kind of control system. I don't know. I don't ever want to see any of you at the FEMA camps. You know? I don't want that. But we're twisting down this road, and if you give people that just get their head out of their ass for 10 minutes and research national news, like look into the stuff that doesn't get put on Fox, CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN. If they look outside of their television, people are blown away. And I mean, let's look at the facts. We've only really been in a world saturated by television and radio for a little over 100 years now. We're the guinea pigs for this type of shit and their use of being able to control us. As of 100 years ago, everybody thought about almost nothing but politics and how to make your country better. People really, really dedicated time to it back in the day. Nobody seems to remember any of it.
I'm fucking raw. Who are you? I'm Kick-Ass.